the moments BTS realized Jungkook was no longer the youngest. RM once said, "People think Jungkook is naturally talented, but what they don't see is how hard he pushes himself when no one is watching." This quiet determination is something the members noticed long before the world did. Recently, during a live broadcast on Weverse, Jungkook addressed some personal changes in his life and briefly mentioned the kind of criticism that sometimes follows public figures. But what caught fans' attention wasn't the situation. It was how calmly he faced it. No frustration, no excuses, just quiet honesty. The kind that shows how much he has grown. In that moment, everyone realized something. Jungkook isn't just the youngest member of BTS anymore. In the documentary, Break the Silence, Jimin once reflected on Jungkook's journey. There was a time when Jungkook was really young and struggling. Sometimes he cried alone, and we didn't always know how to help. Moments like that reminded the members just how much pressure their youngest teammate carried. And then, years later, V shared a very different perspective. According to the travel series, BTS Voyage, Taehyung once said, "He used to be the youngest we protected, but now, he's someone who protects us too." And that quiet shift is what many people began to notice over time. Somewhere along the way, the boy they once protected had quietly grown into someone stronger. For many years, fans saw Jungkook as the shy teenager who debuted at 15. According to early footage from BTS Rookie King, he often stood quietly behind the older members, still adjusting to the spotlight. Back then, the group treated him like a younger brother they needed to guide and protect. But as the years passed, subtle moments began to reveal that Jungkook was changing. One of the earliest signs came through his relentless work ethic. In interviews, RM once explained that Jungkook rarely expressed his struggles openly. Instead, he pushed himself harder than anyone else in practice. While the others rested after rehearsals, Jungkook often stayed behind, repeating choreography until every detail felt perfect. According to the documentary, Burn the Stage, there were times when Jungkook collapsed backstage after giving everything on stage. But what stood out to the members wasn't the exhaustion. It was the way he would quietly get up again, preparing for the next performance without complaint. Little by little, the group began to see a different side of their youngest member. J-Hope once mentioned in an interview that Jungkook's dedication often motivated the rest of the team. He said that watching Jungkook practice made everyone feel they should work just as hard. Without saying a word, the youngest member was slowly influencing the energy of the entire group. Over time, that influence became even more visible on stage. In the documentary Break the Silence, the members talked about how performances depend on shared energy. When Jungkook's intensity rises, the rest of the group naturally follows. It's not something he announces, it's simply the way he performs. For 5, watching Jungkook grow up within the group was a deeply emotional experience. In the travel series BTS Voyage, he reflected on how the youngest member changed over time. Taehyung said that one day he realized Jungkook was no longer just someone they needed to protect. Instead, Jungkook had quietly become someone who could support them as well. According to comments shared during interviews and behind-the-scenes content, the members often notice how Jungkook carries the atmosphere of the stage. When the performance becomes difficult or exhausting, his energy somehow keeps the momentum going. Suga once described Jungkook as someone who burns silently. He explained that people rarely see the pressure Jungkook places on himself. From the outside, fans see a confident performer, but behind that image is someone constantly trying to improve, pushing past his own limits. That quiet determination is also visible in how Jungkook faces criticism today. During recent live broadcasts, he addressed rumors and personal struggles with surprising honesty. Rather than reacting defensively, he spoke calmly about learning, improving, and moving forward, the same approach he has always taken throughout his career. Perhaps that's when the members truly realized something had changed. Jungkook was no longer the teenager who needed guidance in every situation. He had grown into someone capable of carrying his own responsibilities, and sometimes even supporting the group in difficult moments. Some people chose to criticize Jungkook for opening up, for talking honestly about trying to change certain habits and about the pressures that come with living under constant attention. But many fans saw something else, the courage it takes to speak openly and keep improving. Because growth isn't about never making mistakes. Sometimes, it's simply about having the strength to keep moving forward. BTS has always been built on the strength of 7 people growing together, but somewhere along that journey, the youngest member quietly transformed, not through dramatic speeches or grand gestures, but through years of perseverance, mistakes, and relentless effort. And that's when the members of BTS began to see Jungkook differently, not just as their youngest brother, but as one of the strengths that holds the group together.